All right, let's dive into a really big idea today, the civic burden. It's all about this concept that in a democracy, when things go sideways, the responsibility doesn't just fall on our leaders. Nope, it falls on all of us. So let's just start with the question we've all shouted at our TVs, right? When the government messes up, when policies fail, who do we blame? I mean, the easy answer is to point fingers at the people in charge. But is it really that simple? And this quote, well, it gets right to the heart of what we're talking about. Look, this isn't about giving politicians a free pass. Not at all. It's about realizing that in a democracy, the buck doesn't stop at the government building. It actually makes a U-turn and comes right back to us, the voters. Okay, so if we're all in this together, what happens when we check out? What happens when we just stop paying attention? Well, there's a heavy price for that apathy. And we need to talk about what it looks like when that chain of accountability rusts and breaks. So why does this matter so much? Well, first off, just living in a democracy isn't some magic force field that protects us. It's a machine, and it only works if we're all helping to run it. And here's the kicker. Being silent isn't a neutral position. When we see something wrong and we don't speak up, we're basically giving it the green light. And finally, you have to remember that voting isn't the end of your job as a citizen. It's just day one. And that leads to this powerful, kind of scary thought. A government that's running wild isn't some monster that came from nowhere. It's a mirror. It's just reflecting the attitude of the public. So what exactly does that reflection look like? Well, for starters, when no one's watching the cookie jar, you can bet hands are going to be in it. Corruption doesn't just happen. It thrives in the shadows. And public apathy, that creates a whole lot of shadows. And then, the very rights we think are guaranteed start to feel a little less solid. See, our rights aren't carved in granite. They're an agreement we all have to constantly defend. If we stop defending them, they start to chip away, piece by piece. So you've got corruption growing, rights shrinking. What happens next? Trust. The fundamental glue that holds a society together just dissolves. That essential bond between the people and the government, it completely breaks down. And here's the most important part. All of this comes back to haunt us. This isn't just some political science theory. It has real costs for real people. In the end, it's you, it's me, it's the citizens who pay the ultimate price for a system that's been neglected. Okay, so that's the pretty bleak picture of what happens when things fall apart, but it doesn't have to be that way. So let's flip this around and talk about how the system is supposed to work. It's all about a shared duty, two sides of the same coin. It really does start with us. Our responsibility isn't just a single action, it's a whole process. First, we've got to vote, sure, but vote wisely. Do the homework. Then we have to use our voices, speak out. We need to demand that our government is transparent. And maybe most importantly, we have to stay informed. Not knowing what's going on is just not an excuse. Now, let's look at the other side of that partnership. Our elected officials have their own set of duties. Their whole job is to protect the public's interest. They need to investigate when things look sketchy. They're supposed to be our megaphone, amplifying our concerns. And, this one's huge, they have to be willing to admit when they're wrong and correct the course. You see how this all fits together, right? It's like a lock and key. We demand action, they take action. We stay vigilant, they provide transparency. We give them their mandate on election day, they have to uphold that mandate every other day. One side just plain doesn't work without the other. It's a team sport. So when you put all these pieces on the table, you start to see that the health of our democracy isn't something that's decided every 4 years. It's decided every single day by millions of small choices. Which leads us to the final, most personal question. What's your role going to be in all this? It all boils down to this simple, undeniable truth. Your voice, whether you're speaking, writing, or organizing, is your power. It's the fuel that makes the whole engine of democracy run. But here's the flip side, and it's a really sobering one. Choosing to be silent isn't a neutral choice. In the world of civics, your silence is taken as consent. It's a quiet nod of approval to whatever is happening. And that brings us right here to the most critical takeaway. We're taught to think of our vote as a right, and it is. But you know what? It's so much more than that. It is a profound responsibility. It is the single most powerful tool you have to exercise your power and to shoulder your part of our shared civic burden. Ultimately, the choice is yours.